All right, y'all, so we'll start with 3.5, and this is systems of equations. So, y'all, we will start out doing systems of two variables, and then we'll do the systems of three variables. So we're going to start out with systems of two variables. All right, y'all, so systems of two variables will look sort of like this. AX plus BY equals C, and DX plus EY equals F. So we got two variables, X and Y's, okay? So A, B, C, D, E, F are just numbers. But this is the general form of a system of two variables. So you'll have two equations since you got two variables. So the way we solve these is by what we call the elimination method. And I'm going to write the steps for our elimination method. So the first thing we want to do, make sure each equation is in standard form. And y'all, standard form is just in alphabetical order with your variables. So you have your x's plus your y's equal to some number. So that's what we're talking about in standard form. You want all your variables in the right order. So now what we do to eliminate variables, we try to eliminate variables by adding the two equations together. So we eliminate a variable by adding the two equations together. Now, it may be needed that you need to change one or both of these equations so that one of these variables will eliminate. So, if needed, we can change one or both of the equations by multiplication. Okay, and I'll show you what I'm talking about on that. All right, so once I've eliminated the variable, I will then solve for the remaining variable. All right, so I've eliminated a variable. I'm now solving for the remaining variable. Once I know what this variable is, I can then back substitute So back substituting is where I take that answer and plug it into one of my original two equations and solve for the remaining variable. So I'm going to back substitute into one of the original equations and solve for the other variable. And then y'all, my last step is to write my answer as an ordered pair. Remember, ordered pair, you'll have your X variable and then your Y variable, okay? So we'll start out with the two variable equations, and then after we get into those, we will step it up and do three variable equations. So y'all, these examples are going to say solve by the elimination method. All right, y'all. So for my first equation, they're giving me 5x plus 6y equals negative 33. My second equation is 7x minus 6y equals negative 75. So they're going to start out mellow and then they'll turn up the heat as we go through. So your first thing, you got to look for one of the variables to eliminate. Well, y'all, if you look at this, if I was to add these two equations, you got a positive 6y here and you got a negative 6y. If you add these two equations, those y's are going to cancel. So for the first variable I'm going to eliminate, I'm going to eliminate the y variable. And I don't have to do no change. And so it said if needed, we can change by multiplication. Well, I don't need to change them because I got a variable that's going to cancel. So let's add these two equations together. So 5 and 7 give you 12 x's. The 6y and the negative 6y, they sort of cancel out right there. So that 12x will equal what I get on the right side, which is a negative 108. So if you notice, I've eliminated the y variable. All that's left is the x's. So now I'm going to solve this for x. And y'all, to solve this for the x, all I got to do is divide both sides by 12. So I got 12x divided by 12. That'll equal a negative 108 divided by 12. Well, y'all, that cancels, giving me my 1x over here. And then negative 108 divided by 12 gave me a negative 9. So I now know that the x is negative 9. So now we're going to back substitute. And you can pick either one of your original two equations. So to me, I'm going to pick that first one and plug into it. So I'm going to put that negative 9 in for that x and solve it for the y. So that'll give me 5 times negative 9 plus 6y has to equal a negative 33. Okay, so you went through, you eliminated, you had one variable left, you solved for it. Now, once we know what that variable is, we're going to plug it into this equation right here and solve it for the y. So we'll start out 5 times negative 9. That's going to give us what? Negative 45. Plus my 6y equals negative 33. Hey, y'all, at this point, we're going to solve for y. So y'all, let's see. I'm going to add that 45 to both sides. So that's going to cancel. I get my 6y equals, what's that, a positive 12. And then divide both sides by 6. So y'all, that cancels, giving me a 1y. And then y, 12 divided by 6 gives me 2. So we back substituted and solved for the other variable. Now, write the answer as an ordered pair. So my x coordinate was my negative 9. and my y coordinate was the 2. Hey y'all, so that's going to be the trick on these, is just figuring out which variable you want to solve for, eliminate the other variable, and then it's a little bit of back substituting, okay? So I'm going to do one more by hand, and then I'll show you how to do these on the calculator. All right, also solve by elimination again. But y'all, this time I got 9x plus 3y equals negative 12. 3x minus y equals negative 2. Now, if you notice, I don't have anything eliminating if I add the 2 rows at the moment. Because I got a 9 here and a 3. If I add them, I get 12. Here I got a 3 and a negative 1. If I add them, I got 2y. So I can't eliminate them as they look. But I'm going to pick which one I think looks the easiest to eliminate. And y'all, really, either one of these won't be bad to eliminate. But so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to this. I'm going to eliminate the y variable. Now, you can eliminate either variable that you think is easy also, okay? But let me tell you what I'm going to do. Since this row has a 3y and this row has a negative 1y, if I want to eliminate these y's, I got to make this one equal a positive 3 and this one equal a negative 3. So to make this negative y equal negative 3, I got to multiply this whole second equation by 3. So I'm going to multiply the second equation by 3. Once I multiply that whole row by 3, I'm then add the 2 equations. So I'm not changing the first equation, so I'm going to bring that down. I got 9x plus 3y equals negative 12. But I do need to change the second equation. So what we got to do, y'all, is take this whole equation, both sides, and we're going to multiply this whole equation by 3. So you'll do 3 times 3x will give me 9x. 3 times negative y gives me a negative 3y. And that's going to equal the right side, which will be 3 times negative 2, which will give me negative 6. So you got to remember, when you multiply distributes over everything, okay? But y'all look here. I wanted to eliminate the y. Well, now I got a 3y and a negative 3y. So those are going to cancel. 9x plus 9x will give me 18x. That's going to equal the right side, which is negative 12 and negative 6, which give us a negative 18. Now, y'all will say this. If you wanted to eliminate these x's up here, what I'd have done to eliminate the x, since that's a 9x, I'd have multiplied this second row by negative 3 if I wanted to get rid of the x's. Because that would have gave me a negative 9x here, okay? But y'all notice, I've got one variable, so let's solve for x. So that's just going to be 18x divided by 18 equals negative 18 divided by 18. Well, y'all, that's just going to give me a 1x on the left side. And then negative 18 divided by 18 gives us a -1. So we now know what the x equals. So now we get to back substitute. Since I know x is -1, I'm just going to plug it into my first equation and put a -1 in for that x. So that'll give me 9 times -1 plus 3y. That's going to equal that -12. Okay, so we're just plugging into my first equation here. So I can multiply that 9 times -1 and get a -9 plus 3y equals -12. And now, y'all, we're just going to solve for y. So it looks like I'm going to add 9 to both sides. That's going to cancel right there. That's going to bring down that 3y. -12 and 9, give me -3. And y'all look at that. Looks like they're going to give me the same thing, ain't they? Divide both sides by 3. So that gives me 1y. And that's going to equal a -1. So for this one, my ordered pair would be -1 for the x, and then -1 for my y. Y'all, they're not too bad. You just got to keep up with these signs and then trying to find a variable that you can eliminate on those, okay? But no matter which variable you eliminate, you will get the same answers on these, okay? All right, y'all, so let me play with this and to see what we think about this one. 8x minus 9y equals 24.5. So look, they're breaking out the decimals on us. 7y minus 2x equals a -8.5. Now, y'all, I'm going to tell you something on this one. I'm not going to pick any variables yet to eliminate. Because remember, look at these two equations. There's one thing I got to do first. And I think I'm reading your lips, but I'm hoping you're saying rearrange one of these. And y'all, that was that very first thing it said, make sure these equations are in standard form. So what I got to do, I got to get the second equation into standard form. Okay, because we want our x's lined up, then our y, then our numbers. So the first equation, 8x minus 9y equals 24.5. Second equation, you got to move that -2x out to the front. Then your 7y, and then that'll equal your -8.5. All right, so everything's in order now. So now I'm going to pick a variable to eliminate. And y'all ain't going to lie, I'd probably pick the x's on this one. Because the x's, you got an 8x here and a -2. I can turn that -2 into a -8. Okay? But if you pick the y's on this one, you'd have to find the smallest number that a 9 and 7 would go into to change those, okay? So I'm going to eliminate the x's. So remember, to eliminate the x, I'm going to multiply the second equation Well, that's a -2, and I want to make that a -8. I'm going to multiply this whole second equation by a 4. And once I do that, then add the two equations. All right, so I'm not changing the first equation, so that's going to stay 8x minus 9y equals 24.5. But y'all, now I'm taking this second equation right here. In this whole second equation, I'm going to multiply everybody by a positive 4. So 4 times -2x gives me a -8x. 4 times 7y gives me 28y. And then that'll equal 4 times -8.5. That gives you a -34. Oh, y'all, so let's see. The x's cancel like I wanted. 28 and -9 give me a 19y equal to a -9.5. All right, y'all, so looks like our last step now solving for y is to divide both sides by that 19. So I'm going to come in, divide both sides by 19. So that gives me my y equals, and y'all, when I divided my -9.5 by 19, it gave me a -0.5. So on this example, since they started with decimals, we don't have to change these into fraction. We can actually keep these decimal answers, okay? But y'all, I know what y is. So now I come back and back substitute. So I'm going to put that 0.5 in for that y and solve it for the x. So I'll just use the first equation. I got 8x minus 9 times -0.5 equals 24.5. All right, so bring down the 8x. Y'all watch this, a -9 times a -0.5. That's going to make that a positive 4.5 equal to 24.5. So we'll solve for x now. So let's subtract that 4.5. So y'all, the 8x comes down. The 4.5 stuff cancels on the left side. So let's see, 24.5 minus 4.5 left me with 20. All right, y'all, so I got one more step. I can get my x. I'm going to divide both sides by 8. Well, that cancels. Now remember, they want decimal forms. So if you do 20 divided by 8, you end up with a 2.5. All right, then remember, put your answers as an ordered pair. So y'all, the x goes first, 2.5. And then the y value, -0.5. And close parentheses. Now, y'all, it's all fun doing these by hand. But before I do the systems of 3 variables, I'm going to show y'all how to do this on the calculator. Because y'all, that calculator spits them out quick once you learn this process, okay? Now, we'll say this. Let me get a new sheet here. All right. So I want y'all to notice on the left side of your calculator, under that main math button, there's a button that says X -1. But above that button, it says matrix. What we're going to do is what we call the matrix operations on this calculator. Okay? The matrix is all the coefficients of the equations. So the matrix is made up of the coefficients of the equations. So remember, coefficients are just the numbers. When we do this on the calculator, we're just going to put the numbers. So y'all, let's see. I'm going to do the one we just did on the calculator. 8x minus 9y equal 24.5. And I'm doing it once we got it in order. So negative 2x plus 7y equal to negative 8.5. So the first thing on the matrix when we use the calculator, we got to tell it how big is our system of equations. So the first thing we put on the calculator is how many rows by how many columns. This is what you call the order of the matrix. The order is the 2 rows by 3 columns, okay? And your columns will always be one bigger than the number of rows you got. So if you got 2 rows, you need 3 columns, okay? Because what happens once we tell the calculator how many rows and columns we got, it's going to put it out for us to put our numbers in, okay? So once we tell it how many rows and columns, we're going to come in and put the numbers only. 8, -9, 24.5, and then we'll put in our -2, 7, -8.5. So doing in this form is now matrix form, okay? So y'all, let me show you how to put this into that calculator. So let me share the calculator here. And if y'all got one, punch on it with me, and then y'all can sort of get used to this. So the first thing we're going to do is put our matrix in the calculator. So we're going to hit the blue second button, and then we're going to hit that X -1 button for the matrix. Now, y'all might not have nothing on it yet, but what we're going to do, we're going to arrow right and go to edit. And once we hit edit, we'll hit enter. So you see where mine's blinking at now? That wants to know how many rows and then how many columns I got. Well, we had 2 rows, so we're going to put 2 enter. Y'all see what it's doing to my screen? It made 2 rows now. Now, I had 3 columns, so I'm going to hit 3 enter. And y'all look, it's gave me a place for my 6 numbers now. My 2 rows and my 3 columns, okay? So let's put in our numbers. We had an 8 for the first X, enter. So you hit each number and enter each time, okay? I had -9y, so that'd be -9, enter. And then that equaled 24.5. And enter. So y'all, there's my first row. Now I'm going to come in and get the second row put in there. I had a -2 for the X, enter. I had a 7 for the Y, enter. And then I had a -8.5. And enter. Once you hit enter, you'll see all your numbers on your screen there. So now that we got this matrix put in there, we can quit the screen. So I'm going to hit the second blue button and then the mode button right next to it to quit. All right, but y'all listen, we now have that matrix stored in the calculator, okay? So now we wanted to solve the matrix. So guess what? For the second time, we're going to hit second x negative 1 for the matrix stuff. Whoops. So second, x negative 1 for the matrix. Now we done did the editing part, and y'all see right there it says A 2 by 3. That's telling me I now have my 2 by 3 matrix in there. But what we want to do is arrow once to the right and highlight math. Once you got math highlighted, we're going to arrow down and find RREF. On mine, it's B on mine. Now be careful, there's a REF and a RREF. We want the RREF. This is reduced rows, okay? All right, so once RREF is highlighted, I'm going to hit enter, and that brings it on the screen. So y'all, guess what? For the third time, I'm going to hit second x negative 1. But this time I'm just going to hit enter because number 1 is highlighted and number 1 is where I put that matrix at. So I'm just going to hit enter so it brings that matrix A up there that I just did. So y'all, now this calculator is about to solve that matrix we just put in it. So we're going to hit enter. Now on the right side, it puts the answers in the last column in alphabetical order. So it's saying that the X is 2.5 and the Y value is a negative 0.5, which was the 2 answers we got a while ago. And y'all, I'll do plenty of examples on that so that y'all can get used to that calculator, but I know it's a few steps to use the calculator, but y'all by hand, it's quite a few steps, okay? And we ain't even touched the 3 variables yet, okay? So do all y'all got calculator? All
That
right.
app is awesome, just FYI.
Huh?
That app is awesome, just FYI.
Okay, yeah, if you're using the phone app, it does everything I'm doing, don't it?
Mhm.
So watch this. If you got a calculator, let's solve this one then. So we'll just do this one on the calculator just to see if y'all are getting it. 5x plus 2y equals 32. 2x plus 5y equals 38. And I'll sort of walk y'all through it again just to get y'all good. But I'm gonna let y'all give me the final answer before I hit my enter, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do, second x negative 1. So we get the matrix, and you're gonna go over to edit. Now I'm just gonna keep mine going through A every time. So once I hit edit, I'm just gonna hit enter. All right, we still got a 2 by 3, so I'm gonna hit enter on 2, enter on 3. But now we gotta actually change those numbers. So for your X, you got a 5 enter. Y, you got a 2 enter. C was 32, so 32 enter. And then I'm dropping down to the next row, which I had a 2 for the X, enter. 5 for the Y, enter. And then that answer was 38, enter. So that's why you had to have them in the correct order so that the first column was the 5 and 2 for the X's. The next column there was the Y's and then the answers. All right, y'all quit that screen by hitting second mode. So our matrix is in there. So now we got to get that math stuff. So hit second, x negative 1 again. Arrow right to the math column. And then arrow down and find RREF. Once you got that RREF highlighted, hit enter, and that's going to bring it on my screen. All right, for the third time again, you got to hit second x negative 1 to go back to the matrix. And I kept mine in A, so all I got to do at this point is hit enter. All right, so if y'all hit enter for me and see what y'all get, see if y'all put this in right. Remember, the right column will be my answers. So what do we have? X's and Y's. So your top number is your X, your bottom number will be your Y. All right, y'all, so here we go. I'm gonna hit enter and see if y'all got what I got.
Mm-mm.
So y'all should have got a 4 or 6 on that. All righty, so if you didn't get that, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go to second math. Second x negative 1. Let's go to edit. On edit, I'm going to hit enter. All right, Aaron, is your numbers matching mine? 5, 2, 32, 2, 5, 38.
Nope.
So that's what got us. So hit enter until you get to which number was wrong.
Okay.
Because see, now I can just go through this and sort of edit through it and just see if my numbers were right. So you should have a 2 there, and then a 32 on that first row. And then your second row was a 2 enter, 5 enter, 38, and enter. Okay. So you got to make sure these 6 numbers match those 2 equations. Okay. Once those match up, then you can quit the screen by hitting second mode. So which number was off?
I put 12 instead of 2.
Oh, okay, okay. So you probably ended up with some ugly looking decimal answers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's how I know on these ones. There's only one problem you'll get decimal answers on, and that's that one I did with the 2 variables while ago. All the rest of them should give you nice numbers answers, okay? Alrighty, also there's 2 variables. So this one we got what, a 4, 6, I think it was. All right. But y'all, we're gonna get into some tricky ones. These are systems of equations in 3 variables. So we're gonna have X, Y, and Z on these ones, okay? So they'll come into this form, AX plus BY plus CZ equals D. So standard form in 3 variables has your X's, the Y's, the Z's, and then that number there. And now these answers are in the form of an ordered triple X, Y, and Z, okay? So 3 variables, you got what we call ordered triple instead of an ordered pair. And y'all, here's the trick on this one. You got to turn a system of 3 variables into a system of 2 variables on the. So the first thing we'll do is try to turn the 3 variables into a system of 2 by eliminating one of the variables. Once I got it as a system of 2, I'll eliminate another variable and get it down to that last variable, okay? Once I got the last variable, then I can solve it and be done. So the first thing you're going to do, add 2 of the equations together. To get rid of one of the variables. Now, here's the thing. You got 3 equations. I just used 2 of them. So now Using the other equation, with either of the first two equations, so I used two equations out of three, got rid of one of my variables. Now the third equation, I'm going to use it with either one of the first two equations to get rid of the same variable. So it's like you got to eliminate one variable twice. But y'all, after doing that, we will be ending up with what we call a 2x3 system like we've been doing. So at that point, we solve the remaining 2x3 system of equations. All right. Once we solve this and got our variables, we then do a lot of back substituting. So I'm going to back substitute into the 2x3 system to solve for the second variable. After I've solved for the second variable, I've got two of the three variables. So then I'm going to back substitute into the 3x4 system to solve for the last variable. And remember, write the answers as a ordered triple. So now that'll be an X, a Y, and a Z there, okay? So this is when I really appreciate my calculator when I do one of these. I'm going to do one of these by hand to show you how much fun they are. And then guess what? We just punch it in the calculator as a 3x4 system and boom, 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 okay? So let me show you one of these. And y'all, they'll just say solve. Now, the first couple of questions will ask you about like the ordered triples for the answers and stuff. So they just ask you sort of stuff I went over. These are the actual equations. So X plus Y plus Z equals -1. 2X plus 5Y plus 2Z equals -11. And then I got a -X plus 8Y minus 3Z equals a -24. Now we'll say this. For y'all to keep up with what I'm doing, I'm going to label these as the equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3. So I'm just going to number mine 1, 2, 3 so that y'all can sort of see what I'm doing with these, okay? Now I'm going to let y'all pick something for me. I got three variables. And y'all, I don't really care which one y'all pick. But which one of these variables would y'all want me to eliminate? And there's none of them too bad. Either one of them, it don't matter what y'all pick.
X.
So the X's are the easiest looking, right? So I'm going to eliminate the X. So do you see right off the bat, if I add row 1 and row 3, you got an X and a negative X. That's going to cancel the X's right there, right? So let's do that first. I'm going to add 1 and 3 to eliminate X. Now just remember what rows I'm using. I'm using 1 and 3. So that was X plus Y plus Z equaled -1. And then you had a negative X plus 8Y minus 3Z equal -24. All right, so let's see what we get. It looks like those X's are going to cancel like you wanted. So 1 and 8 gave me 9Y. 1 minus 3 gave you -2Z. And then -1 and -24 give me -25. So I'm going to make this now my row 4. So here's the thing, y'all. Look at this. We used equation 1 and equation 3 to get this equation. Now, we got to use equation 2 this time and add to one of these two to eliminate that X again. But guess what? So I'm going to show you what I would do. You got a 2X here. This is the negative X. What if I multiply this whole row by a 2? Because 2 times negative X will make that a -2X, right? So what we're going to do here, we're going to multiply 3 by a +2, then add to equation 2, okay? So I'm going to change equation 3 by multiplying by 2. Once I've changed equation 3, then I can add to my equation 2 here, okay? So I'm adding 2 and 3 this time. So let me bring down equation 3. Let's multiply this whole thing by a 2. So that's going to give you 2 times -1 is -2X. 2 times 8 is 16Y. 2 times -3 is -6Z. And then 2 times -24 is a -48. I didn't change row 2. I'm just going to bring it down. 2X plus 5Y plus 2Z equals -11. So y'all with me, y'all? You have to use all 3 of those equations at least once. So you're going to get one equation that's going to be a repeat. You're using it twice, okay? So I think I use my second equation. I use my first and third, and then I use my second and third here, okay? But y'all look at that. X's are gone. 16 and 5 gave me 21Y. -6 and 2 gave me -4Z. And that equals a -59. This new equation, I'm going to call my equation 5. So y'all see now, if 4 and 5 both have Y's and Z's left, so these two equations now become a 2x3 system. So you now have a 2x3 system that we can now solve like we did on the first page of notes. Now, y'all, I got to pick a variable to eliminate. Well, I'm going to tell you on this one, it looks a lot easier to multiply to get rid of these Z's here than it does these Y's over here. You got a 9 and 21. I don't even know what the smallest number they'll both go into is. But a 2 and a 4 and a 2, I can change this 2 into a 4 real quick. Now notice, this one here's a -4. If I want to change a -2 into a +4, I got to multiply this equation by a -2 this time. So I'm going to multiply top equation by -2, then add to the bottom equation. All right, so -2 times 9 gives me -18y. -2 times -2z gives you a +4z. And then -2 times -25 gives me a 50. I didn't change the second row, so that's going to be 21y minus 4z equals a -59. And y'all look, the z now cancels. So -18 and 21, you now have 3y, and then 50 and -59 gives me a -9. And y'all guess what? At this point, I can solve for the y. Oh, and y'all, what are we going to do? Just divide by 3 on both sides? So that cancels. I get my y. -9 divided by 3 gives me a -3. So I now know what one of those 3 variables is. So what I'm going to do is a lot of back substitution. Since I know the y is -3, I can plug it into either one of these 2 equations and solve for the z. So I'm going to use number 4. It's a lot easier looking. So I'm going to put that -3 in for this y. So that's going to give me 9 times. Oh, hang on. I got one I got to let in real quick. Let me see who this is real quick, y'all. Anna G, who is this? Oh, it's Gomez. I think it is. Okay, I'm good, I think. Okay, she's on my row. All righty, y'all. So I'm going to back substitute into this one. So I'm going to put that -3 in for that y. And then minus my 2z equals -25. Hey, also 9 times -3 is -27 minus 2z equals -25. Solving that for the z, we're going to add 27 to both sides. So y'all look at that. That cancels. I get -2z. 27 minus 25 leaves me a 2. And y'all finally, let's divide by -2. Well, that cancels and I get z is now a -1. So we know 2 of our variables. We know the y and the z. So now I'm going to come back up here and plug that into one of my 3 original equations. And I'm probably just going to use that top one because that looks the easiest. So I don't know the x yet, so I'm going to back substitute into that one. So x plus my y, which is a -3, plus my z, which is -1. All of this has to equal -1. Okay, so I just plugged in the y I had and the z. So now I'm going to solve that for that x. Well, I'm going to add this -3 and -1 together real quick. That's going to give you a -4, all equal to -1. Oh, y'all, what are we going to do? Add 4 here and be done with this one, right? So that cancels and I get x is -1 and 4 gives me 3. So my ordered triple would be my x first, which is 3, my y, which is -3, and then my z, which is -1. So now let's do that one on the calculator real quick, and then I'll let y'all do a break, okay? Now on the calculator, when I do this on the calculator, this one now has 3 rows by 4 columns. Okay, so here we go. And then I'm just going to punch in my numbers. 1, 1, 1, -1. 2, 5, 2, -11. -1, 8, -3, -24. Okay, so we're just going to punch in numbers on that calculator, y'all. So let's go. All right, y'all, let me clear everything off my history here. So for the first time, we're going to hit second, x -1 to get our matrix. We're going to over to edit and highlight edit, and then we're going to hit enter. So now this wants to know my rows and my columns. So we got 3 rows now, so 3 enter, and we got 4 columns, so 4 enter. And watch how it makes all these spaces for my numbers now. All right, y'all, so now we put in the numbers in front of the variables. So 1x is 1 enter. 1y would be 1 enter. And y'all notice how you got to hit enter after every number. And then 1z would be 1 enter. And then the first row answer was -1 enter. Now the second row had 2 x's, it's 2 enter. 5y, so 5 enter. 2z, so 2 enter. And then -11 for that answer. And enter. The last row I had -x, so that's -1 enter. 8y would be 8 enter. -3z would be -3 enter. And then -24 and enter. So enter after every one of them numbers. All right, so now I have edited my matrix. So I'm going to quit the screen by hitting the second and the mode button. All right, so once that matrix is in there like we got it, we need to go get the math that it can do. So y'all, for the second time, you hit second, x -1 for the matrix. Arrow right and highlight math. Once math is highlighted, you're going to arrow down and get RREF. So it's B on mine, RREF, and hit enter. So y'all, all this done, this brought the reduced row operation to the screen. But remember, it don't know what to do it to until you go get that matrix and put in there. So for the third time, you hit second, x -1. And y'all see how my A now has my 3 by 4 matrix sitting there? I can just hit enter on this screen. It's going to pull my matrix up. And y'all remember what answer we got a while ago? I thought we got what? 3, -3, -1. So when I hit enter, on the right side, there's my 3, -3, and my -1. Okay? So, a little tedious putting it in there, but no, that saved me a whole page of notes just knocking it out on that calculator, okay? So did y'all get 3, -3, and -1?
I'm getting okay, so I've gone through and I just double checked. I'm getting stuck at where you go to the RREF.
Okay, so your edit looks good though. You got the same numbers in here, 111, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let me quit that screen. Okay, so you're hitting second, x negative one.
Mhm.
You're highlighting math. And you're going down until so mine, notice I'm going through the list. I got a REF, but I'm going to hit it one more and get my RREF. So arrow down until you get to B on yours.
Mhm.
See there?
Yep.
Hit enter. And your screen right now should be showing an RREF and a blank parentheses. So now we're going to go get the matrix to put in there. So hit second x negative one again. And if you're doing the same one like me, yours is always going to be A highlighted. So just hit enter on that.
Okay.
And your screen should now say RREF A.
Mhm.
So now hit enter.
Okay.
And that right side should have 3, -3, and a -1.
Okay.
So that'll be my X, Y, Z, and Z's in order, okay? Hey, once you get used to that, you're going to love that.
Yeah.
Because these are tricky when they got 3 variables. I'm not going to lie. And sometimes you have to change both the rows to try to get stuff to eliminate. And woo, they get a little hairy there. So let's do a break. And when we come back, we'll play with some more of these. And I'll probably focus more on my calculator then, okay?
Okay.
So y'all, I'm showing we'll do a break till looks like 13 after. Okay. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna solve one on here. That's what we're gonna do. 8x minus y plus z equals -57. 2x plus 2y minus 3z equals 12. And then finally, x minus 3y plus 2z equals -27. All righty, so all right, y'all, 3 variables, 3 equations. In the calculator, this will be a 3 by 4. You got 3 rows by 4 columns on these, okay? All right, so I'm gonna write the steps on what I'm doing in that calculator real quick. All right, so I'm gonna hit second x -1 so I can get my matrix stuff. Once I'm on matrix, I'm going to arrow over to edit and hit enter. And then I'm going to put in all the numbers. All right, once I got in all my numbers, I'm going to hit second mode and quit. So let's get our numbers in first. We're going to put in an 8, -1, 1, -57, 2, 2, -3, 12. And then we'll put in a 1, -3, 2, -27. So y'all, I'm going to share my calculator with you now. So let me clear everything off here. All right, so we said we're going to hit second x -1. That's on the left side. Second x -1 for our matrix stuff. We're going to arrow right and get on edit and hit enter. So the first thing up here where the 3 is, that's how many rows you had. So we still got 3 rows. So you hit enter on that. And we got 4 columns. Hit enter on that. So now we got to come in and put all 12 of these numbers in. So I had 8x, so I'm going to go 8 enter. -y would be a -1 enter. Z would be a 1 enter. And then -57. And enter. That's my first row. Now I'm coming to the second row. I had a 2 for the X, enter. 2 for the Y, enter. -3 for the Z, enter. And then I had 12, enter. My third row was the 1 for the X, enter. -3 for the Y, enter. 2 for the Z, enter. And then -27 and enter. So once you hit enter after every single number, we now got the matrix edited. So now I'm going to hit the second mode button to quit. All right, y'all, so let me go back to my paper now. So now this has it put in. Now we got to grab our math. So y'all watch this. I'm going to hit second, x -1, and I'm going to arrow over to math. Once I arrow over to math, I'm going to arrow down until I get RREF. Once I got RREF highlighted, I'm going to hit enter. All right, so let's go do that on our calculator. All right, so second x -1, highlight math, and then we said we're going to go down and get RREF. Once we got RREF highlighted, we're going to hit enter. Okay, so this brings up RREF. So my last step is to hit second, x -1, and then I'm just going to hit enter because I always keep everything on that A, okay? So I'm going to go back to that calculator, second, x -1, and then I'm just going to hit enter. That's going to bring your matrix up. So y'all hit enter, and let's see what we get. So y'all, looks like on that one, y'all should have got a -6, 3, -6. Okay, y'all, so that's the trick on these. By hand, you can do them by hand like I did that first one if you want to, or get good on these at putting them into that calculator, okay?
When you have the like -6, 3, -6, does it go in order of XYZ down?
Yeah. That right column will always get in order. Do you see how the top row has the 1 highlighted?
Mhm.
Well, that 1 is in the X column, right?
Okay. Okay.
So that means 1x was at -6. You'll see on the second row, that 1 is in the Y column. So that 1 equaled that 3, and then the last one is in the Z column, and that Z equal -6, okay? But yeah, they'll always go in order on that side. So y'all check this out. 3.6 is doing the same thing, except these are word problems. This is called solving applied problems. So y'all, it starts out with wanting y'all to translate the statement. So their statement is the sum of three numbers is 50. So they just want us to write this algebraically. So the sum of three numbers, well, we don't know what the three numbers are, but we know sum means adding, right? So this could be something like x plus y plus z. So there's the sum of my three numbers. Is means equals, and then that's going to equal 50. So this one will have like an A, B, C, D. You want to pick the one that matches what they're saying here, okay? And then another one they want you to translate. And they're just doing these couple examples just to get you ready for the word problems, okay? So y'all, this one says the first number is 50 more than the sum of the other two numbers. So the first number would be my x. Is means equals. And then it says 50 more than the sum of the other two numbers. Well, once again, sum is adding. I don't know those other two numbers, so I'll call that y plus z. That's the sum of the other two numbers. But y'all, 50 more. So that's going to be plus 50, right? When you see more, more means plus. So this would be plus 50. Now, guess what? Although this is the right answer at the moment, we need to get this in standard form. So we need to put this in standard form. Well, that meant everything's got to be on this side except for that number. So if you want to move this y to the other side, what you doing to it? So that's a positive y. We're going to subtract a y from both sides. Y'all, I need to move this z to the other side. It's positive over here. So to move the z, we're going to subtract the z from both sides. So basically, if I put these in order, I'm going to get an x minus y minus z. And then that all equals my 50. So the trick, if something is positive on one side, when you move it to the other side, it becomes negative, okay? And y'all, that's what they want on this one. They want this stuff to be put in what they call standard form, okay? All right, y'all, so that was just getting you ready with the word problems. So let's work one of these word problems. And they're not going to kill you with a whole lot of these. There's like 3 of these. So I'm going to try to cover these with you. All right, y'all, word problem number 1. In triangle ABC, the measure of angle B is 30 degrees more than 3 times the measure of angle A. So that's one equation they're giving me. B is going to equal 30 more than 3 times A. So the second equation, the measure of angle C is 60 degrees more than the measure of angle A. So at that point, they say, find the measure of each angle. So basically, y'all, what we got is a triangle sitting here with an A, B, and C, okay? And we're just wanting to measure all these 3 angles here. So let's interpret these 2 sentences they gave me. So this one says angle B, so that says B is, which is equals 30 more than 3 times A. So 3 times A plus my 30. This is 30 more than 3 times A. Or you could do 30 plus 3A either way, okay? That's your first sentence. Then it tells me what? The measure of angle C. So C is equals 60 more than measure of angle A. So that's just going to be A plus 60. Now, for both of these, we need to get them in standard form. So let me play with the first one. If I'm going to put this first one in standard form, that 3A has to be on the other side. Okay? So if you move the 3A to the other side, you're going to make it negative. So the first one will give you negative 3A plus my B is going to equal 30. Now you see I left a little space here because I need a space for my C column, right? So this will be my A column, my B column, and my C. Now y'all look at this equation. C equals A plus 60. If I move this A to the other side, it's going to become negative. So this is going to give me a negative A. There's no B here, but I do have my C. So that'll be plus C, and that line equals 60. So y'all just remember, if you want a shortcut, you just move stuff over and change its sign. But what I actually did, I come in and I was really subtracting A from both sides to get the negative A and then the C, okay? So y'all, look what's happening. I've only got 2 equations here. I've only got 2 equations. I need 3 equations to solve this system of equations. So can y'all give me my third equation about what y'all know about these 3 angles on this triangle? So what do y'all know about the 3 angles here? Do y'all know how much they add up to? So the 3 angles of a triangle, y'all, A plus B plus C If that's a triangle, then all three angles, when you add them together, equal 180 degrees. Okay. So I know A plus B plus C equals 180 degrees. All righty, so y'all want to play with one by hand? Or are y'all straight doing them on the calculator? Oh, hell, y'all want another one by hand, right? So my question is, I got A's, B's, and C's. What variable do y'all want to eliminate? And two of them are going to be easier than the other.
When you do, so if you were to input this on a calculator just like this, when you don't have like the first equation, you don't have C, would you just enter 0 for that?
Oh, look at you go. So I put a -3, 1, 0, 30. Good job. A -1, 0, 1, 60. And then I would do my 1, 1, 1, 180. So that seems like the way we're going. So we're just going to knock down on the calculator then. So good job. Anytime something's missing, and these couple of these word problems do that to you. They do where you got missing variables. Now I will say this: if I was doing it by hand, I'd probably eliminate the B's or the C's because the other equation wouldn't even have them anyway. So that would become the second equation doing that stuff. So let's go. We got a 3 by 4 still. So let's go knock this out on that calculator. All right, so let me clear everything. All right, so second, x -1, arrow over to edit. And once we got edit, hit enter. All right, so mine's still 3 by 4, so I'm just going to hit enter twice. And then let's put in our numbers. We had -3, enter. 1, enter. 0, enter. And 30, enter. All right, then I got -1, enter. 0, enter. 1, enter. And 60, enter. Then I just had 1, enter. 1, enter. 1, enter. And 180. And enter. All right, so my matrix is in there now. So now I'm going to quit the screen by hitting second mode. All right, y'all, then I'm going to go second x -1, arrow over to math, and go down and get that RREF again. And enter, and then I'm going to go get my matrix by hitting the second x -1 and enter. So Aaron, what was the measure of angle A?
28.8.
Oh, so you got a decimal again, so
Yeah.
something's getting you on that, so we're gonna have to figure that out. So I'm ending up with 1884.78. So let's go and edit real quick. So let's go to second x -1. Let's arrow over to edit and hit enter. So tell me your numbers on your first row.
-3, 1, 0, 30.
All right, hang on, let me catch this. -3. Oh, so you got the 0 and the 1 backwards, it sounds like.
Oh,
So your first row, you should be -3, 1, 0.
yeah, -3, 1, 0, and then equals 30.
Okay, so you said okay, that's what you're saying. And then 30. All right, next row down.
Negative,
Um, okay.
-1, 0, 1, 6. Oh, that's
Six.
why. I put 6.
Uh-huh. So that should be a 60. So let's fix that. And then you'll go down to your last row and see what you got.
111 at 180.
All righty. So now quit that screen and you go use some RREF to that. And that's what I would do. If you get decimals on 3.6, go back and you got to have one number in there wrong, okay? And then let me grab that matrix, second x negative 1, and enter. And then hopefully now you're getting 18, 84, 78.
Yep.
Okay. So just remember, if you do get a decimal, don't rewrite this whole thing. Just go in and sort of edit and see. Because it's easy because you're looking off paper. And I've even done that and I'm like, well, there's no way I can get a decimal on here. So I'll either put a negative if I need a positive. Just watch for signs and watch for those numbers, okay? And if you add 18, 84, and 78 together, those three equal 180, okay? So the main thing I'm going to do with these ones is actually just showing you how to set up these word problems, okay? And there's actually 3 word problems where you got to find the matrices and stuff. So y'all, this one says, the sum of 3 numbers is 56. So this is why we gave y'all that one to translate while ago. Where you had to do the x plus y equal to whatever it was. It's because of this problem. So the sum of 3 numbers is 56. Now y'all watch this part. The difference of the largest and smallest is 51. And the sum of the 2 smaller numbers is 13. Then it says, find the numbers. Now, y'all, I'll tell you what I do on this one. Since they're talking about large numbers, small numbers, medium numbers, and all that, my rows are going to be, my X's are going to be my large number. And then I'm going to let my Y be my middle number. And then Z will be my small number. I'm just trying to get my variables in order here. So this will be my X, Y, Z, large, middle, small. So look at this first one. The sum of 3 numbers is 56. Well, that's my large number, plus my middle number, plus my small number. All 3 of them is going to equal 56. So y'all with me on that? But watch this next line. Difference means subtraction. The difference between the largest and the smallest. Well, y'all, if X is my largest number, who's getting subtracted?
Z.
The Z, good job. And that, so my largest minus my smallest equaled 51. Well, then how about this one? The sum of the 2 smaller numbers is 13. What are y'all going with on that?
Y and Z.
So Y plus Z. So sum meant added, and that one said, what did we say? 13. So if you're doing this one, you're going to have a 0 right here and a 0 right there. Now, this one's, the answer says the numbers from largest to smallest. Are blank, blank, and blank. So punch it in and see what y'all get on that. Y'all should get three numbers that add up to 56. Your largest minus the smallest should equal 51, and then the adding of the two smaller numbers should equal 13. So y'all, you still have a 3 by 4, and then you're going to be 1, 1, 1, 56, 1, 0, -1, 51, and then that last row will be a 0, 1, 1, 13. So y'all just see what y'all get on that one. I'll let y'all punch that one in. All right, y'all. So what is my largest number y'all had?
43.
43. Good job. What's your middle number?
21.
All right. Looks like you're getting good on the calculator now. And then your smallest number is
-8.
-8.
I just
Okay.
have to slow down to input stuff.
Well, and that's a trick because most of the mistakes is going to be when y'all putting them numbers in. And be careful because sometimes you hit a 4 instead of a 5 or vice versa. Them numbers are right next to each other, especially my females that's got the long fingernails. Woo, I don't know how they do this stuff, but yeah, be careful, okay? All right, so I got one more to show y'all how to set up. And it's really similar to that one. All right, so by eating one egg, one cupcake, and one slice of pizza, a child consumes 301 milligrams of cholesterol. So I bet they're going to want to know how much cholesterol is in each of these things, I'm betting, right? Because the kids got 301 milligrams and we got an egg, a cupcake, and a pizza. All right. The child eats 3 cupcakes and 4 slices of pizza. The child takes in 90 milligrams of cholesterol. So this might be something y'all need if you're doing that BSN type nursing and stuff, and you got to take nutrition or something, you know. This could be a question I could see them doing in a nutrition class. All right, and then finally, if the child eats 2 eggs, and 1 cupcake, they consume 566 milligrams of cholesterol. So y'all, you know the question of the day, how much cholesterol in each item? So I set this one up sort of like I did with the numbers. I'm going to make my X, Y, and Z be the egg. So eggs will be my X's. What was next? Cupcake. Cupcakes will be my Y column. And then pizza. Pizza is going to be like my Z column. So 1 egg, 1 cupcake, 1 pizza. So you should have 1 X. I don't even need that 1. So I should have an X plus a Y plus a Z. All 3 of them equal to 301. But y'all be careful on the second and third. Second says 3 cupcakes. Well, 3 cupcakes is in the Y row. So you got 3Y. So that's 3 cupcakes and 4 slices of pizza. So that'll be 3Y plus 4Z. Those are going to give me 90 milligrams. So my last equation, 2 eggs and 1 cupcake. So that'll be 2 X's. 1 cupcake will be 1 Y. And all of that is going to equal 566. So you got your system. Once again, you're going to use a couple zeros on that. All right, y'all. So here's what we're going to do on that one. So y'all going to tell me how much cholesterol is in an egg, how much is in a cupcake, and then how much is in that pizza. All right, y'all. So here we go. I'll do this one with y'all since we're going to go to calculator. I'm going to clear everything off here. All right, so I'm going to go edit my matrix by hitting second, X -1, arrow over to edit, and enter. All right, so I got a 3x4 still. So I had 1, enter, 1, enter, 1, enter, 301. And enter. Then I had 0, enter, 3, enter, 4, enter, and 90, enter. And then I had 2, enter, 1, enter, 0, enter, and 566, enter. All right, everything's entered. I'm going to quit the screen. So second mode. Now I'm going to go get RREF. So second, X -1, highlight math, arrow down, get the RREF, enter. And then y'all go get that matrix. Second, X -1, and enter. So if you've already done it, who has the most cholesterol, the egg, cupcake, or pizza?
Egg.
Definitely. And what is it?
274.
274. There you go. So y'all, you should have 274 for the egg, 18 for the cupcake, and 9 for the pizza. Okay? So y'all, that's the trick in 3, 5, and 3, 6. By hand, they can be done by hand, but you've seen how tedious that was with that 3 by 4 that we did by hand. But if y'all can get good on the calculator, you can do any size equation on it. You can do 4 variables if you want to, 5 variables, all that fun stuff. So that's the power of the matrices, okay? All right, y'all. So Monday. Monday won't be too long because all we're going to do is cover 3.7 on Monday. That'll be the last material for test 1. So we'll cover 3.7 Monday. Tuesday, we're going to review for test 1. And that's pretty much all I'm going to do is just review for that test 1. That next day, we're going to come in and start knocking out test 2 material. Okay? Now, Tuesday, I might, after we do the review, I might do the next little section because it's pretty small for the next chapter. Let me just sort of see how I got stuff going on. But as of right now, Monday, we're just going to finish out test 1 material, and then we'll review Tuesday for sure. Anna, you're a new student. I'm just going to sort of show you real quick where you'll find your homework and stuff. So I'm going to share my screen and show you the Blackboard real quick. All right, so when y'all enter into Blackboard, this is your Start Here page. And all the lecture videos and stuff, I've been sending y'all into email after class. But if you look over here on the left side under the course materials, you got your MathLab student links. MathLab student links is where you're going to click, and it's going to bring up all your math assignments. So you'll just go through and click on My Math All Assignments, and that's going to bring you into the course agreement and then all the other assignments. The course agreement is not math related. I think it's more about financial aid and all that stuff, about money and stuff. So that's what it'll cover. But your actual homework starts at 2.1 and then starts going down, okay? So let me go back over. All the videos for this class, if you click on this course content lecture videos over here, if you click on that, it's got everything done by week 1, week 2 and stuff. So everything I covered in week 1 right here, if you click it, it's got all the lecture videos covering all these sections, okay? Of course, I need to add my 3.6 to that. But that's where you'll go and watch videos to help you with that homework, okay? Now, y'all listen. My homework says it's due by Sunday night, but on homework, you can work late without penalty, okay? So if you can't get everything done by Monday, that's all right. It'll still let you work it afterwards, okay? The only thing that you cannot work late in this class is a test. The tests have to be done by their due dates, okay? So y'all, Monday when I open up that test 1, it'll be due by next Sunday night, okay? So you got all week to play with that test. Y'all, let me see. In honor, that's mainly everything you'll need is the student links for your homework. The Zoom meeting link gets you to our class every day at 10. The course content lecture videos, those are where all my work will be, my homework and all that fun stuff as far as the videos go. And y'all probably don't use much more than that, right?
Mm-mm.
Now what I do is I'm recording this class. So after class, I will send y'all the video link